Zhao Duoshui. Zhao Duoshui, this is truly urgent. Please save the company. The entire office was watching us. Everyone's eyes were filled with mixed emotions. I didn't take the chance to make demands, nor did I put on airs to pressure them. I simply told Xiao Jibua calmly that this would be my last duty. After saying that, I put on my professional headset and began remotely connecting to Jiangxing's server. Xiao Jibua led all the technical staff to crowd tightly behind my seat. No one dared to breathe loudly. Mengyu stood at the outer edge of the crowd. Her face shifted between pale and livid. Her eyes were filled with resentment and unwillingness. Code rolled across the screen like a waterfall. With 5 years of deep experience maintaining client systems, combined with the last system upgrade, when I had already foreseen possible vulnerabilities, and the response plan I had prepared privately, I quickly located the root cause. It was a deeply hidden database interface conflict. The conflict came from Jiangxing's internal IT staff's improper operation last time, leaving behind a hidden risk. Because the technical department was unfamiliar with the full architecture, they had never found this key point. My hands tapped rapidly on the keyboard. I modified the code line by line, restarted the service, and cleared the cache. The whole process was smooth and precise. An hour later, I took off the headset and told Xiao Jibua the problem was solved. Almost at the same moment, my phone rang. The caller was Jiangxing's technical director. On the phone, he said excitedly, "Zhang Dishui, thank you so much. You saved our entire production line this time. Production has now fully resumed." His tone clearly relaxed. Then he changed the subject. He continued meaningfully, "Brother, I have to say something from the heart. For someone as capable as you to stay at Tingwei is truly a waste. This company really doesn't deserve you." I only smiled faintly. I thanked him for his praise. Seeing that the crisis was over, Xiao Jibua finally let out a long breath. The way he looked at me changed. There was no longer gratitude in it. Instead, fear and dissatisfaction appeared. He suddenly realized that the employee he had always controlled actually possessed power he couldn't control. Seeing this, Mengyu immediately moved close to Xiao Jibua and lowered her voice to stir things up. "Mr. Xiao, don't you think this is strange?" The technical department struggled for so long with no result, but the moment he stepped in, it was solved. Did he secretly hold something back, just to threaten the company at this moment and negotiate terms with you? Those words hit exactly where Xiao Jibua was vulnerable. He would rather believe an employee was playing tricks than admit his own management failure. When he looked at me, his jealousy became even more obvious. I had no interest in their petty thoughts. The crisis was handled. My task was basically complete. I printed out a document and walked to Xiao Jibua's desk. I gently placed the document down. "Mr. Xiao, this is my work handover list. Please review it and assign someone for the handover." Xiao Jibua picked up the list and flipped through a few pages casually. It only listed the names of 300 clients, standard contracts, and publicly available contact information. As for the truly core content, such as maintenance points accumulated through personal experience, key relationship networks, and communication skills, none of them appeared on the list. This handover list had no procedural flaws. It was perfectly complete, but in practice, it had no operational value. 4 days before the contract expired, Xiao Jibua finally appointed Mengyu to take over my work handover. Perhaps this was his power move, an attempt to prove to me, "See? Your most important work can easily be taken over by the employee I chose." Mengyu held that empty handover list as if she had received an imperial decree. She sat in front of me with an arrogant look and said, "Zhang Dishui, we can begin now. You need to explain to me one by one what special habits each client has, what kind of words they like to hear, and what topics they avoid. You must explain everything clearly." Her tone didn't sound like a work handover. It sounded more like interrogating a criminal. I opened the handover list and pointed to the first client name, Jiangxing Group's procurement director, Li Hongwei. The contact number and standard contract terms are here. Special requirements are in Appendix 3. Let's move on to the next one. Mengyu suddenly interrupted me. "That's all? Who wants to hear these surface-level things? What I want to know are the unwritten rules that won't appear in documents. For example, what kind of tea Director Li likes, and what details to pay attention to when dining with him." I slowly raised my eyes and calmly looked straight at her. "Sorry, my handover scope is limited to the items on the list, standardized information that belongs to company assets. As for my personal relationship with Director Li, and the communication experience I accumulated personally, those fall under my personal experience. They are not part of my handover obligations." Mengyu's face instantly turned red. She accused me of refusing to cooperate with work. She warned me not to think that just because I was leaving soon, I could act so arrogant. She even falsely accused me of deliberately making things difficult for her. At that moment, her sharp, piercing voice stood out harshly in the quiet office. I leaned back against the chair and looked at her. For the first time, I publicly showed my edge without hiding it. In the handover document I wrote, "Which sentence can't you understand? Or is it your professional ability that prevents you from understanding these basic materials?" My words struck Meng Yu's weak spot sharply. Her face instantly turned pale. Her lips began trembling non-stop, but she couldn't say a single word in response. The surrounding co-workers began whispering. Some bloated as they watched her embarrass herself. They felt that she usually threw her weight around, and had finally hit a wall. Others thought I was too arrogant, using the chance that I was about to leave, to openly challenge the company favorite. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, the boss, Xiao Jibua, had no choice but to mediate. He kept saying, all right. He stressed that everyone was colleagues, and should talk things through properly. He first cleared his throat, then turned his gaze to me. In an elder-like tone, he said, "Zheng Dishuai, you're a veteran employee. You should be more generous. Meng Yu is doing this for work too. Just share those experiences. After all, it's all for the company's good." I looked at Xiao Jibua's hypocritical face, and found it extremely ridiculous. I replied calmly, "Mr. Xiao, experience cannot be directly taught. It can only be slowly accumulated, through constantly solving problems and communicating. My contract only requires me to hand over work, not to open a private training course, and provide years of guidance to my successor. If Ms. Meng Yu even needs me to teach her basic client relationship icebreaking step by step, then I suggest the company reconsider whether she is qualified for this position." My words were sharp. The blade not only cut through Meng Yu's dignity, but also tore down the stage Xiao Jibua had built. Xiao Jibua's face completely darkened. The office fell into a deathly silence. In that frozen atmosphere, I felt my phone vibrate gently. I picked it up and looked. It was a WeChat message from Director Li. The content was a beautifully designed digital offer. It came from a new company I had never heard of, called Shuangwei Technology. My position was clearly written as senior partner. The salary figure was an astronomical number I had never dared dream of. I silently turned off my phone screen. When I looked up, I met Xiao Jibua's gloomy gaze. Instead, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. I truly no longer wanted to deal with this mess. The contract was expiring. It was the final countdown day. It was also my last day at Tingwei Technology. I spent the whole morning packing up. I cleaned my workstation thoroughly. I put all my personal items into a cardboard box. I permanently shredded and deleted all personal files from the computer, except for the company-issued computer and phone. The desk was as empty as if no one had used it. It was as if I had never been there at all. My co-workers gathered around in small groups. They said those fake polite words. "Zhang Dishuai, wish you a bright future. Remember to keep in touch." But there was not a trace of reluctance in their eyes. All they had was schadenfreude, waiting to watch the show. In their eyes, once I left the company platform, I would be a useless technical liability, soon beaten down by society, then miserably missing my days at Tingwei. Meng Yu made no effort to hide her contempt. She crossed her arms beside me and said sarcastically, "Oh, some people really think they're strong now, after losing Tingwei, such a big platform backing you. I'd like to see how you can still act so impressive in front of clients." I was too lazy to respond to her. I only smiled faintly, and packed the last document and account seal. In the afternoon, Xiao Jibua suddenly asked me for one final talk.